about to start from the Yankee Stadium. Back to the door.
Competition day brings reality into the classroom. It's raw, it's real. You kind of don't know what's going to happen on competition day. There's always that element of the unknown, and you don't know if what you've worked on in theory is going to actually translate to in practice or in reality in the competition.
And they're ready with a bell just about to ring.
I'm Megan Reissman.
And I'm Tim Reissman.
And we use entrepreneurial mindset to structure competitions.
The first, the left, and then the right.
I really got interested in this mostly based off how I learned as a student. So I was on a project team that competed against other universities as an undergrad. And then later on as a graduate student, I worked on a lot of projects within the Department of Defense where you had to kind of pitch something that was better than, or something that was new that could create a competitive advantage for our soldiers.
Something that's good about competitions with regard to EM is having a competition at the end, even if the project's a bit longer. It helps the students to have a goal in mind and to see the finish line and be getting really excited throughout the length of the project. In the competition, the robots are in a specific orientation relative to each other. The students are standing on either side of the ring. They turn their robot on, then the robot starts to seek out its opponents in the ring, and ideally will move towards its opponents, and then they'll be hopefully engaged in a pushing battle to see which robot is stronger and can push its opponent out of the ring.
I think competitions drive a lot of what we want to do for showmanship sometimes. Sometimes it drives us to just have some accountability for what we're doing. And a lot of times it allows us to see what others are doing. Learning from others is a great way to really push development.
If you just told them, do this thing, do that thing, you know, they kind of step through the process, but I think that your competition really engages their creativity because suddenly they'll be like, well, I want to add this extra thing, and how do I do this? And I want the sensor to spin around, so I need to figure out how to do that. So they're coming up with new things on their own because they just get so engaged with the process and they just want to have a really cool and competitive robot.
And I like to make it just a big event. So you have not only the people who are in the class that are doing it, are being a part of that competition, but they can bring in friends, family if they're around, and it's something that you also kind of embrace. It brings together that fun, that curiosity, if you will, of what's going to happen that day. And then afterwards, the biggest thing is now reflecting upon that day.
It's so key for me that after the competition that the students reflect on what they saw and they think about, okay, why was my prediction high or low and how was the class overall? I think in class you just get a good grade, a bad grade, and you move on. But in life you can't just be like, oh, that was one isolated incident and this has no relationship to the rest. You have to reflect and then you have to build and you have to learn from that. And I think competition, we try to make sure that's always the last stage of the process.
The new champ, stand by, folks, and I'll get him to say hello to you all. Here, Gregory. Hey, champ.